I'm gonna get back to that story, Sonny. Just, just you listen to Boomer Great One. He's gonna tell you about how it was back in the olden days, back before fire, back when we walked uphill for everything. In fact, we didn't even have a concept of downhill because there was no downhill. Everything was uphill. We thought that was normal. We didn't even have a word for it because there was no alternative. It was uphill all the time. You just need to reach down and grab yourselves by your bootstraps and pull yourselves up, sonny. Because when I was your age, I bought a house for $25,000. And I made that money on my paper route and bussing tables at the local cafe. And if I could do it, you can do it too. You just need to reach down and pull yourself up and just buckle up there, buckaroo. God, I hate boomers.
So I don't know if I'm just getting older and less patient, and it's just been 10 and a half years of asshole consulting. And maybe I've had I'm not quitting, by the way. I'm just trying to figure out why I came out with this epiphany. Or maybe he had a spate of a lot of lame questions. I guess there's no lame questions if your dad didn't raise you right. Your dad wasn't around. You've been raised by teachers of the state and you just don't know. Man, I'm just getting exhausted. Just it doesn't end. It doesn't. And God bless. It's like a cop fighting crime. God bless the Democrats. God bless leftism. God bless feminism and single motherhood, because I would have to have a real job of it. But at the end of the day, a cop, I'm sure, gets sick and tired of fighting crime. I'm sure doctor gets sick and tired of fighting disease. But let me lay down a very important philosophy that'll perhaps answer a lot of everybody's questions, or kind of give you the core principle by which to diagnose your own problem. Be like, oh, that's how it works. Because, man, you young people, by young people, people mean 50 and younger. You people, because I'm 49, you people have been so lied to about practically everything, but about the most important things in life. Yeah, you don't get it. You're completely unaware because you were told one thing, and then you go in the real world like, this isn't how, what's going on? Why am I failing? So let's talk about how to succeed in this world, because that's generally the questions I get. I'm failing in very important aspect of life X, career, finances, girls, health, whatever. How do I solve that problem? And the way to realize the universal path, the universal answer, the philosophy behind it, is to realize that you are not by yourself in this world, right? There are other people. You're in an environment, you're in a world, and there are other people. And for you to, quote, succeed in this world, to survive and thrive and excel, that requires you interact and live. Like, by definition, it means that you would get something out of society. Whether in case, Cappy, how do I get a successful career? Okay, you want society, an employer, other people to give you money. Cappy, how do I get laid? Okay, you want a girl or a guy, I guess, for you girls, but we know you're not that. Oh, okay, maybe. But let's just say the sexes had an equal interest in sex. Cappy, I want to fall in love. Kid, family, sex, whatever. How do I get the other person to do that? And what I've found is everybody is taking a myopic, singular, horse blinder view, where it's completely solipsistic. I am the only one in the world. And this is why I get so pissed off at, how do I get the girls? When it's some dorky fuckwit who's never worked out in a gym, and they're always looking for the formula. They're always looking, well, do I do this with my fingernails? Do I comb my hair that way? What are the magic words I got to say? Because you refuse to acknowledge that you are trying to get other people to spend their equally sentient, equally independent-minded people to do something in your best interest without considering anything of theirs. You literally think they're robots, they're programs. There's literally magic words you can say. Then she sucks cock. Then she bobs up and down on peen. And the reason there's natural human laziness, right? I understand people trying to be efficient, not wasting their time, but then there's just rank human laziness where how do I get this thing? How do I get society? How do I get the world to irrationally just give me shit for free? Right? That's ultimately what you say. How do I make six figures without having to work hard or do math? How do I get Henry Cavill to date me, but I can still be a fat, gluttonous pig of a woman? How do I get the girl to go out with me, but I'm too much of a coward and a pussy to ask her out, let alone go to the gym? How do I get rich quick? How do whatever. How do I get thin and in shape without having to put effort in at the gym or diet? You're always trying to short circuit reality and the world and other people when you have to step back and sit and think and say, well, where else are you going to get that success? Where are you? It's a nuanced point I'm trying to make, right? I want good things to happen to me without any work. Well, good luck with that. What I'm trying to point out is where are you trying to get value? We could say sex, health, money, wealth, success. If you want to chase status, that's a very important thing to people with no brains. Okay, but let's just say you want status. Well, where do you get that from? You know where you get that from? Not you. You get it from there. And there, I mean the real world and other people. And the concept that I wrote it in this book somewhere, How Not to Become a Millennial. I found a separate excerpt I'm going to read to make my point a little bit more cogent, but I couldn't find the one I was looking for. But you have to realize the only place you're going to succeed, the only place you're going to get value, the only place you're going to get success and what you want is by going through the real world and other people, because that's the only place that can give you value. So let me read this excerpt. Now I'm going to talk about like slingshot and gravity assist and all that. Imagine you are the most talented heart surgeon in the world, or perhaps the best chef on the planet. Maybe you're the best musical composer of all times, or perhaps you're simply the greatest mom in the history of moms. Now put yourself alone on Mars with nobody around you. What you'll soon realize is that without other people, it doesn't matter that you're the greatest surgeon, the greatest chef, the best music composer, or the universe's greatest mom. Without other people to recognize or avail themselves of your abilities, you have no value. You are technically worthless. Predictably, some will argue that you at least have some philosophical value in being the best. That just because you are a music composer on Mars and create the universe's greatest song doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It's a great song that just needs somebody to discover it. But that makes the point even more so. Not until somebody else discovers it will it have purpose, meaning, or value. It will remain a piece of paper with notes written on it, indistinguishable from the matter of Martian dust that surrounds it, until another sentient being finds it and can appreciate it. This is the key thing to understanding about value, specifically what gives humans value. That you cannot be an individual and confer value upon yourself. The option to declare yourself valuable or worthy does not exist. Pay attention, self-love fanatics of the feminist, psychopath, cultist religion. Value is completely dependent upon the existence of other people, and it can only originate from and be given by other people. Therefore, if you wish to have any value, at least here on planet Earth, you need to do one of two things. You either produce something of value other humans will willingly transact their time for through the use of money, as money is nothing more than their time converted into a physical exchangeable form, or you be an interesting enough human that other people willingly spend their time directly with you as friends, colleagues, or lovers. But in either case, you will soon realize it is the transference of humans' only and most precious commodity, time, that determines all value in society. Not money, not traits, not your gender, and not your political religion, other people's time. This makes perfect sense since time is really the only other commodities humans have. It is the only currency they can trade in, and so it should be no surprise that what ultimately determines the value of an individual human is how much of other people's time they command, either through the labor they offer or being such an interesting person people willingly want to spend their time with them. But to achieve either, you must be you a highly paid surgeon or simply the world's most interesting man. There's only one way to do it: through accomplishments. And accomplishments are all that really matter in life. I could go on there. That's how not to become a millennial. All of you use it. But the point I wanted to make with that is, absent of other humans, I think in that there's more talking about recognition or being compensated or having status for whether you're a great musical composer or a surgeon or whatever else have you, is you need other people. You need another world. And since all value comes from other people in the world we live in, that means you really have to take the mentality and the philosophy that you don't exist. I've talked about this before. A lot of you have questions about, how do I become a good conversationalist? How do I get more social? It's a little depressing and sad, because what I say is, first, you don't exist. No one cares about you. They do not care about you. Somebody else, my old man said this, but he was quoting someone else. All conversation is other people waiting their turn to talk about them. And once you realize that no one really cares that you exist, I mean, they don't hate you. That's the key to being a great conversationalist. You rarely, if ever, talk about yourself. Now, I'm not saying you never talk about yourself, otherwise you become too robotic and you're not approachable, you're not human. But I have just, like simple rules. In conversation, always ask 3 questions of other people. Now, if it's one-on-one, ask that person 3 questions about themselves. And usually there's a logical follow-up, Oh, what do you do? Question 1. I'm a firefighter. Oh, that must be pretty cool. Question 2. Yeah, it kind of is. Da, 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 da. Question 3. Well, what's your favorite part about the job? And you haven't said fuck all diddly squat about yourself. You could be a murdering raisinist, vile person. And they're like, this guy's pretty cool. They don't know anything about you. You're just merely talking about them. And then, if there's something in your life that is germane and relevant to the topic of conversation, then you might introduce that or submit that to the conversation. Oh yeah, my house caught fire back in the day, and the cops da 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 da. Then back to asking about them. Now, you don't want to become an interrogation. You should have a genuine, at least, curiosity or interest in, oh, you're a firefighter. What's that like? Oh, okay. Do you really get the girls in? Is there a calendar? Or do you have to have you introduce humor a little bit? And it was Dale Carnegie and How to Win Friends and Influence People. He talks about how he talked to a botanist at a party. And he actually was interested in botany because it was a field he's never studied, and it's kind of curious. So he learned a lot about it. All he did was talk to this guy about botany and, oh, well, how does this work and how does that work? And the guy was his best friend at the end of the evening. But the guy knew nothing about Dale Carnegie because Dale Carnegie didn't say much about him. And not to belabor the point, was really fascinating. Let me permit a little bit of arrogance. I'm a fucking different guy. I'm a unique character. Not to brag, but when I walk into a room, usually I'm the guy with the most interesting background because it's fucked up. It's not some of it's accomplishments, some of it's just fucked up. It's just different. What did you do? Went to college, couldn't find a job, got married, got divorced. That's it. What'd you do? Oh, I did this and I did the thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's not, these aren't bad people. It's just, but I've literally, what do you do? And how do you describe it? I usually just say I'm an author because it's mostly true and it's a simple answer. You'd be surprised how many people, author, that's like, I'm not saying it's at the same level. It's unique or odd as I'm an astronaut, or I'm a race car driver, or I'm I'm trying to think of something that isn't glorious. It's just something unique. Like, I'm a garbage man. You don't run into garbage. You're like, oh, you're garbage man. Well, what's that like? It's different. Some people, oh, really? What books have you read? Da da da. But after that, that's it. No one follows up. Well, how'd you get into that? Were you always in it? It's amazing how I was like, is that it? You're not curious about? And I don't force it on people. I'm just like, it's very interesting. Where I wonder if astronauts got the, oh, I'm an astronaut. Maybe a little kid. Maybe that's sexy enough. People would be, wow, really? But just watch conversation. And when you say something, what do you do? Let's say you're something normal. I'm an accountant. Oh, cool. Off to back to talking about themselves. And while you do have to give up yourself, I wouldn't say in total, but a fair amount, like you just don't exist. What you're doing is you are actually taking action in the real world, because where does all success and value and worth and status come from? Them, not you. Sorry, self love ladies. You have no value unto yourself. None. And once you understand I guess we could call this the ultimate rule, like rule number one of being successful is to realize value does not come from you. It comes from other people and the world out there. And once you realize that all your value is going to come from those people over there in the real world, now you're starting to make decisions that will get you value from those people. For example, we do it the opposite here, especially in the United States. Think about little guidance counselor gal asked high school person, what do you want to do for a living? That's so fucked up. That's the cart before the horse. How dare you tell 7 billion people on the planet what you're going to do for a living? And the supreme arrogance and cockiness is when you have generally leftists. I demand government grants and handouts to create a job. I majored in journalism. It's a tragedy. I'm entitled to a job. Fuck you. The world doesn't want whatever video games, journalism, leftist horseshit. The world doesn't want Marxist, leftist, feminist studies professor. The world wants what we all want: video games, chocolate ice cream, girls with big tits. Classic example. I mean, I'm not to, but a classic example. What does half the population want it vehemently so? Hot young girls with big tits. That's why OnlyFans is a thing and fatlardchicks.org.com is not. It's I don't care. Fuck you. I don't care how politically incorrect it is. It's still correct. I'm living in the real world. And a girl who you could see this. Women who maintain their shape generally do financially better than girls that don't. Plenty of studies that show for that. um, the point is, once you realize that all value comes from not you, but them, you start making the right choices. You start making the right decisions. You say, what does society want? Not your guidance counselor. What do you want to do for a living? Fuck that shit. What does society want? Are they going to give me money? I mean, the number one resource you need is money, right? Which is other humans' time. But through money, you say, hey, I got other people's time and I can exchange it and say, hey, you go make me a sandwich, or hey, you go refine some gas, right? That because you need it to survive. And that's the first. How do I get the money? And you'll see the difference between people who are successful saying, what does society want? What should I do? When you say, well, what has a job at the end of it? That is being intelligent. That's basing your decision in reality. You're sacrificing yourself. Well, I'd love to be a video game tester, chocolate eater, redhead with tiggle bitties, gigolo. It's not going to happen. That's me forcing what I want on society, not providing any value. Me saying, what is there a job at the end of that? That means you're saying, oh, society wants that. And the way I like to describe it is it's not you giving up on your life and enslaving yourself to society. That's how a lot of people look at it, because they believe in the lie, the not truth that, well, I could follow my heart and the money will follow and the world will bend to my will. No, that's a nightmare. That's why you're poor. That's why you're miserable. That's why you put on tattoos and ridiculous hair colors, because you have no value. You got to come up with weird things that have value. Oh, I put a tattoo with Chinese proverbs on my arm. You're still a worthless piece of shit. So they want, and that's the lie. I think that's the biggest lie we tell people, young people, but all people today, that somehow you have value just existing. Oh, and certainly the Democrats. Oh, you're black, you're female, you're this, you're that trait. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's no value in being Latina. There's no value in that. Just isn't. But you all, I mean, do you remember that video of all the women at New York University? Like, I majored in, what was it? Black storytelling? Fuck off. Holy, wasted your life, Batman. You're going to force people to buy black storytelling? I don't know, but Disney and a bunch of other media companies try to force a bunch of DEI. I said it wasn't good. No one wants it. So, but when you're told that beautiful lie that you can do whatever you want and the money will follow and follow your heart and you don't need it, ignoring completely what the world wants and having the unconscious arrogance. I don't think young people think about it. Having the unconscious arrogance that the world will pay me for my poetry. I think Vlad Elkins' ex is Cuddle Wookums. She wrote shit poetry and publishes some shit journal, and they're gonna force the world like, and it's injustice, beep, 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 beep. It's like, no one asked for your shitty poetry. That's you telling 7 billion people to transfer their time in increments of dollars, or whatever currency you might get paid in, to pay for your shitty poems that nobody wants. And so going from that completely delusional, entitled, and above all arrogant, though I don't believe conscious arrogance because, you were lied to by your parents and teachers. But at the end of the day, it's delusional arrogance to think that the real world is going to bend to a single person's will so you can make basically horse shit. You're delusional. And as an adult, you got to realize, oh, yeah, I'm an actress. I had almost a client once who was a comedian, an aspiring comedian, and just surprised, you're not that funny. And that's why she had questions about career and getting finances together. And it's a different story. But yeah, you're not that funny. The real world doesn't like your humor. You should go and, I don't know, maybe be a hot mom and raise some kids. Hey, what? Whoa. Oh, I don't know. Go become an accountant, a programmer, an engineer, a mechanic. Fine. Go be poor. Go be miserable and have like barely any value. Have the real world barely value at all, if at all. If for any, okay, you're a barista. Okay, you're whatever. Something, whatever people who have no skills or talents do just to get by until they get their break. So I could see, coming from that perspective, you think it's slavery, right? Because you have to give up on your dream to go work for the man, but accounting is boring. I say, yeah, you're right. It sucks working for the man. And you're right, accounting is boring. But you know what? It's better than fucking being poor and destitute and worrying about surviving. Again, and it's like Creasy from Man on Fire, where it's the gun, the girl's learning to do speed swimming, and he goes, bam, like the gun, because he doesn't have a gun. And she flinches. He's like, why are you flinching? Well, just was surprised. It's like the gun is your friend. The noise sets you free. You are in a prison. And not until that thing, you want to get out of this prison. And he gets it so that when she hears it, bam, she takes off and learns to appreciate it. You have to understand this reality, realizing you have no value, you do not exist to society, or you have no value, you do not exist to society, that sets you free, because that's how the real world looks at you. And once you realize that it is through society, all of your success is going to come, all of your value is going to be derived, that makes them not so much your slaves, but that's the machine that you're going to get to work for you. And once you realize what you got, 7 billion humans on, maybe 8 billion humans on this planet. And if you can give them what they want, they're going to go work. I guess in that sense, they will go be your slaves willingly to work up the money to give it to you because you're giving them what they want. Now, what is it that people want? Well, typically what we've always, Do you think back when Sony didn't suck, uh, do you think Sony had had to twist arms and pull teeth to get a bunch of young boys to buy the PlayStation 2? Huh? Was Sony PlayStation like all your liberal arts professors that forced you to buy their book because no one in the world would buy their book otherwise? No. You were lined up to go to get the PS2. Maybe some of you too young to remember that. You don't have to put a gun to someone's head to get them to go buy booze. You have to put a gun to someone's head to get them to buy chocolate ice cream. You don't have to put a gun to somebody's head, a doctor or medical to go hire a heart surgeon. People willingly will gladly pay for many things. And once you realize, hey, if I become that thing and I provide what society wants, they're they're gonna willingly give me the money. I think Mrs. Fields cookies, it was started just a guy who was like, "Oh, I make good cookies." It was either Mrs. Fields or someone else. I forgot who it was. Chocolate chip cookies. I'm not saying we all make chocolate chip cookies, all right? But what do people want? Well, they want, "Do you want gas? You like gas. Okay, why don't you become a chemical engineer? Do you need your taxes?" Sometimes it's not always fun. Do you need your taxes done? Everybody needs their taxes done. All right, go become an accountant. We even have a course called The World's Greatest Accounting Career. It's on Teachable. This is my best selling course because people want, I don't know, I think young people, some people starting to wake the fuck up and realize, oh, yeah, I'm sick and tired of this follow my heart and the money never follows while I can't own a home and afford rent because I majored in political science. But people need their accounting done. People need their taxes done. Go become an accountant. Uh, Dentist, there's another one that, there's things society needs but doesn't necessarily want, like we need cops. We don't necessarily want them, but there's crime. We need dentists. We don't necessarily want them, but we need them. At my age, you got to go get a colonoscopy. Do I really want a colonoscopy? No, but I need it. So I'm going to pay the doctor to do it. God, I paid him a lot to do it too. And once you realize that's how the real world works, that's rule number one. You have no value. You do not exist. It's what value provides society. Once you figure that out, you got a global engine of 7 billion people willing to work for you. You're not Bipsy, who isn't even good looking. Just believe the whole modern day, let's say post Gen X horse shit, that you're just valuable upon the way you are. And she gains weight, she get tattoos, and she majors in feminist poetry. Who's in this? It turned out there's an article. I can't read it because it's behind the paywall now because Business Insider. A friend of mine sent it to me. Jacobson, a lady, uh, not married, overweight, ugly, uh, became a doula, Doula. Like she became a natural birthing kind of consultant. And you look her up, and it's just a work avoidant person is all it is at the end of the day. And she inherited $250,000, and then I guess she blew it all away on a road trip. I can't read the article, so I don't know much more of the details, but there's a classic example. I'm gonna be a fat, lazy piece of shit. I'm not gonna work a real job. I'm gonna do some horse shit, emotional, natural birthing crap. It's not gonna really make any money. Because it's not even what I really wanna do, it's just work avoidant, it's easy, and feminist, whatever. I'm not gonna be healthy, I'm not gonna do anything hard in life, and then I get my inheritance, and the contradiction and the hypocrisy, but then I'm gonna buy all the fun vice, excitement shit. Now I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna get drunk, and I'm not gonna work for a living, but I'm gonna with the $250,000, I'm gonna pay all you Latinos to make me some yummy, tasty food on my traveling, and I'm gonna pay the engineers to go and make me a car that I'm gonna rent, and I'm gonna pay all the chemical engineers to make me the gas. All you, the rest of the world, you go make me what I want, but I'm not gonna make you what you want. And guess what? She's poured it. You can read through the article if it ever gets out from behind a paywall. And that's the first you need to understand you are worthless. You have no value until you provide the rest of society something of value that they want. Now I'm focusing on money and career because it's economic exchange. And finances, I think, is even the number one problem I get with clients coming in. I think it is finances before sex because you can't have sex or chase girls if you just piss poor, right? But it applies to other things as well because all human interaction is in the word interaction. There's another person. And that other person, I think we're brainwashed to believe that we're solipsistic. We're the only ones here. Homath did a great visual display, as he typically does, where there's a girl, because, of course, and she's in color. And then he drew some gray other human beings, but they were gray. And he's like, this is how most people, well, this is how all people start off. You're a child, you're young. The only thing, how do I get the world's got to give me stuff? Me, 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 me. Those aren't other people. They don't exist. And that works when you're a kid because other people are doing everything for you. Whether you're under 18 or you're a 32-year-old living off of government and welfare and all that, the kid is not age-based, it's mentality-based. It's not until you realize that, oh, the way I live and enjoy life is getting other people to willingly give me the thing that I want. And that means I have to, one, produce something of value, but more importantly, two, realize they are also other human beings who are equally lazy, thus economics and production, who have their own requirements, their own demands and dreams, even. All right. So, what do I do that gets them to willingly do what I do? And it immediately, step one is selflessness. I'm not saying don't have self-respect. I'm not saying treat yourself like shit, become a subservient slave to others, but realize the only way you're going to get anything out of life is realizing that you need to do what other people want. You need to provide them with what they want. And so whether it's a high-end computer programming skill or dentistry or tax services, or ladies, I want a guy. Well, then be hot. Sorry, not sorry. That's what men want. The the it's classic, man. I mean, that's the classic where the girl's all in color, and I forget what he was talking about. She wanted something from society. But man, if this ain't the truth, you want a man. Well, did you realize men are sentient human beings that also have their demands and lists of requirements? And based on obesity rates, not just among women, but men too, no, no, you don't believe they're separate human beings. And the amount of anger and I don't know, anger. And what's the word that you girls are pissed? You're angry and mad that why aren't men can't fight? Well, have you tried being thin and hot? Have you tried sitting and saying they are separate human beings who are just as alive and conscious as I am, and they have requirements and demands? Maybe I ought to deliver it to them so they counter invest in me. Or do you still view them as NPCs and you're going to be ultimately solipsistic and not deliver what they want? Just like most of your degrees you choose. Same thing with you guys. I want to get the girls. Have you considered that girls don't want to fuck a fat guy with a gun where he's got to lift it up to go pee? Have you thought about delivery? Have you thought about going to the gym? Is there a way that I can look smack? No, go to the gym. Lose weight, go to the gym. Well, what about using charisma? Just shut the fine. Just say you don't want girls. You're not willing. What do they want? They're another human being just like me. I got to figure out what they want, and then I got to deliver it. And then you get value. Then you get the job. Then you get the girl stuff. Then you get, I guess, recognition or prestige. Like for those of you who are creative, you're a musician and you create great music and somebody likes it and you go viral on SoundCloud or YouTube. Or okay, cool. You write a best-selling book. That's cool. You get money for that. That's I'm like, I don't care about the stat. Just give me the money. You get recognition. Congratulations. You're very popular. But until you deliver what the real world wants, until you go and say, hey, there's 7 billion people on the planet that are going to give me food, clothing, shelter, and anything else I want as long as I deliver it to them. Until you get that and understand you don't exist and you got to go and provide the real world what it wants, you are going to be like the typical under 40 something, poor, underemployed, perhaps a ton of potential. You could have an incredible intelligence. You could have a great work ethic. But until you get over the lie that somehow you have value merely existing and the world owes you a living and you have the right to do what you want, the money will follow. Thus spoke the adult child teacher who never had set foot in the real world. And if it weren't for forced taxation, wouldn't have a fucking job. Yeah, go listen to that economic parasite about how the real world works. Until you rebuke and reject that primary lie, the cardinal lie we tell all young people, you will not succeed in this world because you refuse to provide value for others. Now, after you achieve accomplishments and after you go through this journey, after you go through the trials and tribulations, you do have value, you have self-worth in the sense that you should have self-respect and want to stay alive and enjoy life. But after you go through this trial and tribulation, you provide, you actually will become a more interesting person. You will become a unique person. And down the road, you're going to hopefully run into people like friends who enjoy you for you. Hopefully, you might find someone of the opposite sex, don't be fat, who really likes you and wants to fuck you. And wouldn't that be nice? But it ain't going to come. Let me help you girls out, okay? Guys always talk about, okay, be thin, be nice, and what's the other one? Be thin, be nice, don't have another guy's kid, something, be feminine. It's like 3, 4, 5 basic rules. Here's another thing. Have you thought about being actually different? Not, wow, you're also a Democrat who votes for the right thing, and the most core value you have is feminism or socialism, and you're amazing, you're brave and amazing, you have amazing friends, and and you have your standard social science, worthless liberal arts degree. You just have, do you realize you are so common, so boring, so indistinguishable? Have you thought about maybe being different? Okay, your dyed hair? No, you're a conformist. The tattoos? No, you're a conformist. I don't care what it says. Have you thought about being different? I'm not saying you gotta go become some Trump supporting, non-tattooed, chemical engineer major. I just can't. Have you thought, "Hey, I'm gonna die. Maybe I don't do the things my parents and teachers and media and government told me exactly to become just like literally every other girl in the country." Have you thought about doing what you wanna do? Or I wanna get married to be a stay-at-home mom. Have you thought about that? "No, they'll kill me." Oh, brave and amazing you are, and independent. Go back to go go back to the plantation. They're asking about you. They're about to send the hounds after you. You gotta get past curfew. Get back and think the way you were told. I what to become an interesting person, stop doing what they tell you to do. Do what you want, but also have the maturity to say, okay, I got to provide some value to society. I got to give up a little bit of myself, but maybe in doing that, you learn value, you learn economics, you learn time, you learn to appreciate other people's time, so you don't waste it, and become a different, unique human being. Ladies, we got enough of the Democrat voting, She-Ra feminist, Kamala now. Oh, we want UBI and free daycare, and I just care about the children. We got okay. Go read your Sylvia Plath over there. We got enough. I like guns, and I want to become a pilot. Oh, hey, how you doing? Ah, never. So there you go. I think that's a great lesson for all you to you do not exist. A point in time will come that you provide value for society, and then you will exist, and then people want to hang out with you, friends, family, loved ones. There's loved ones and lust ones. I like the lust ones. Uh but you are going to be poor and waste your life until you realize that they all production is coming from them. That's an engine. That's an engine you can tap into and get all your wealth from. Question is, how easy do you want your life to be? Do you want to deliver exactly what they want? Just be done with this food, clothing, and shelter bullshit? Or you want to still hang on to, but my fourth grade teacher who never worked a real job promised me that the real world would be like this. Oh, is that what the woman who was in school since 5 years old and never left told you? I wonder why her advice isn't working. Maybe you should dissect your sentences into dangling participles some more, and then that will get you a job over at Merck. Link below is that book, How Not to Become a Millennial. There is also a link below to my course, The Dad You Never Had. If you want more, basically, you want the rules of how the game of life is played so you can win. Not sit there and pout about the rules as time slowly goes by and you're tortured because you refuse to engage in the rules of life. And then you're 80 and you die and like you didn't live. Oh, was it life? Yeah, they were a pissed off Democrat their entire life with student loan debt because they still believe money hard, money follow. The Dad You Never Had, available on Teachable. And then by the way, you want the nightmare to end financially, you're looking for a job, The World's Greatest Accounting Career. That's also available on Teachable if you're interested in a career in accounting. Let's go to the super chats and have ourselves a treat. $2. Justified Misagony, $2. Got a manager interview, 90K and 40 out. Really? Dude, that's a jump for you, Justified. Were you like just going to school? That's great. You'll have that house in Mexico in no time. 30-year-old mulberry tree, $2. Reality doesn't care. When in Rome, fool me once. Yep. Aaron, $5. I'm usually the one to ask about the other person in conversation. It's so rare they reciprocate. If they do, they get promoted to a friend. Yeah, it's just, if anything, it's fun to watch. Like, don't take personal investment in it. Just have a conversation. See how many people actually ask you about you. It's shockingly rare. Some people are just happy when someone asks them about them. And they're like, oh my God. Well, by the way, don't expect anything exciting. Oh, you majored in sociology. Oh, okay. You volunteer at the dog shelter. Oh. That's hard to feign interest in a person that's truly boring and an NPC. Oh, you work as a bartender. Oh, okay. And you're doing the same thing everybody else is doing. Oh, yeah. You went to that concert that the people all went. Oh, yeah. Do you like Tay Tay? No, never seen it. Okay, I just it's another discussion. Dre, $2, but they say follow your passion and the money follows. You're right, Dre. And anyone who disagrees with you is a racist, homophobic, sexist bigot. 30-year-old mulberry tree, $5. I like the side of you, Cappy. At least you're not being smug. I think that's what really pisses people off who think they are slaves, aka don't get hustle. It's not even hustle. It's just knowing where value comes from. Just acknowledging how the real world works. And here I'm a little bit more forgiving. I understand this is what you were told since you were a little 3-year-old, that you're just brave and amazing, and you're daddy's little prince of princes, and the world is you living, and it all sounds nice. And you're a kid, you can't work, so it's corroborated. Like, yeah, the money just comes from somewhere. But then when you get out into the real world and you got to hang out with, that's another thing, personality wise, who the fuck wants to hang out with people who are still like, well, I'm entitled. And, it's the Republicans in the Senate. If Donald Trump, I'm not even talking the political, just the entitlement. Like the world's so unfair. Oh, fuck off. Like, don't talk to me unless you've worked an overnight shift, kind of. Don't talk to me unless you've fallen asleep on a hike on a trail. Dre, $2. I lined up with my dad for Halo 2 as a kid. Oh, you played Halo with your old man? Oh, you lined up to go buy it. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Just your average black dude, 14 Canadian. I get it rationally. Logic and intelligence gets me nowhere in order to function or make a living around the inferior normies. So dumbing down and playing along for safety, they win. I'm truly worthless. Well, here in a certain sense, just your average black dude, you do almost have to view them as robots and slaves. Uh, where what do they want? They want bread and circuses. That's not wrong. Uh, and in that sense, they kind of are slaves. Look at Ozempic. Hey, fat pigs of the world, do you want to be thin? While saying you don't care what men think about you, but you still want to be thin, but you're not doing it for men, but you don't want to hit the gym. Here's Ozempic. Shit out your intestines. Yay. They line up to buy that shit. I know I got people working in the medical field like, oh yeah, all these gals coming in. They're all coming in like, oh, I want that. Have you thought about changing your diet? No, just give me the pill. Um, yeah. You getting the dude bros to buy the car at 14%. And you and I aren't gonna you really shouldn't buy that car at 14%. You should get something. So shut up, man. You're just a square, bro. Fine. Here's your $80,000 vehicle at 14%, Mr. $30,000 yeah, and then when you're at work, you gotta that's the harder part is you just gotta dumb yourself down and obey. Yeah, what okay, we're doing it that way. uh, but remember, obey. That's what society wants you to do, especially in the employment world. They want you to obey. Do I get the money? Fine. Exodia, new person, $5. I'm confused, but doesn't that contradict your advice yesterday of not getting value from the external? No, no. All I'm saying now, you need food, clothing, and shelter minimum to live. So you do need some value from society. What I'm saying is that you should have your value through your accomplishments, both that are compensated and not, like you have hobbies or something like that. Um, but inevitably you do need to get some friendship and counter human investment in you, not necessarily financial, but human relationships. Where I run into the problem today, and where I'm saying you should not get all your validation from externally, is because most people are assholes. Most people are, you don't want their validation. You don't want their investment. And so it kind of does put you at this catch 22 or a paradox. Look, you can't just go eat food, clothing, shelter, and be a monk and sit and do nothing. Though you live enough years, you could see where these Tibetan monks just want to be left the fuck alone in the mountains. But yeah, at the same time, you can't just exist making money delivering people, their heroin and their bread in circuses, and then you just sit and do nothing. You do have to seek out human relationships because at the end of the day, that's all you pretty much got. But damn, man, it's hard to find them. And here's the other thing, there's a difference between a healthy human relationship where you guys really like each other and trying to be popular. I think the client you're talking about, he was infuriated that people would not agree with him and acknowledge he was right. That's trying to be popular. That's not having a good human relationship. So you're not wrong. You do need some external validation. You do need some external value conferred upon you by good people. But the key thing is good people, good relationships, not trying to be popular with the rest of society. Or let alone trying, in his case, trying to control it. Like, how dare you not respect? Like, no, I don't care if you respect me. But if I find a person that's really cool, yeah, I do kind of care if they respect me or want to hang out with me. Just your average black dude again for $14. Pedro for president. Only thing I can't take is the men whose entire identity is another man's jersey on his back, or a woman who says a lot but can make no sense of their words and shame me because I don't get it. As Nuke says, those aren't humans. Those are NPCs. I'm sorry. There are so many non-human humans out there. Getting back to what the previous donator said, how many of the people do you really want to be friends with? Like, they really, you're wearing a whatever, a Rothberger. You're wearing some man's jersey. I just am not going to waste my time talking to you. Hey, what about the game, bro? Did you know Billy Bobson threw for 8 quarterback touchdowns in the 23? Who do you? Well, I like that guy. No, I don't care about your draft, bro. I don't care about your fantasy football, man. And yeah, the girls who are just gonna blather and blither and do you know how hot it is when a woman speaks plainly and uses the English language instead of using it as like a purposeful propagandist obfuscation about her true motives? Do you know how refreshing it is where the girl says what she means and means what she says? Oh my god, I get an erection. It's a beautiful woman. But why would you talk to a wordsmith or a sophist is what the word you're looking for, I'm looking for. And why would I talk to adult? Bro, did you watch the game? Right. And there's nothing wrong with it. Go watch your game, but don't talk to me. 30-year-old mulberry tree, 2 bucks. Liberality is not majority opinion, aka not reality. Justified misogyny, 2 bucks. Just had screening for other job and they didn't tell me. And they didn't tell you? What do you mean they didn't tell you? Unhinged, 5 bucks. Figured you'd be the guy to ask, but what is a good South Dakota bank to use? It depends the town you're in. Because there's a Wells Fargo in whatever U.S. Bank in any slightly sizable town, but those banks suck. And then you're stuck with the rink-a-dink little town bank. I would go with a bank that's local that has online banking. That's about it. That's about the only one that's like what I'd look for. Because seriously, go 3 towns over. I don't know what bank is over in Murdo. I have no idea. You may not have much of a choice either. I mean, well, that's the bank in town unless you're willing to drive 30 miles over. Lord Venom, 5 bucks. With passing of Richard Simmons, you have the best chance of getting top Gahay power hiker. Best of luck to you. Say, no, I'm not. I'm not a power walker, and I don't bet for the other team. We are pro the other team, though. We are pro the other team. We salute you. Hell, let's go out and have a good game. But I don't bet for the other team. Would be a lot easier if I did. I'll tell you that. Be like Jack Donovan, like, man, women really don't like you guys. It's a pain in the ass. All right, there you go. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.